Hello, my name is Mike Isenhour, and I've got a question for you. Do you tremble at the thought of cutting an onion? Does the possibility of tears clouding your vision make it so you don't really want to cut the onion for fear that the opposite sex will think you're a wuss? Well, today is your lucky day. I'm going to give you a couple little hints. They're going to help you out. A couple things that I learned over 15 years working in the restaurant industry. Let's go ahead and get started. First, you want to make sure, anytime that you're doing anything in the kitchen, that you get everything together before you start. Nothing's worse than getting halfway through something, realizing that you need something else, and having to stop what you're doing and go get something. So, for this simple thing, we need, obviously, an onion, a sharp knife, a bowl for the diced pieces to go in the end, a cutting board, and a wet towel. Say wet, but it really can be damp. What we're going to do with our towel first is lay the towel down on the countertop, put our cutting board on top of it. Since it's damp, it's going to prevent the cutting board from moving, which makes things a little safer for us. Now to get started, we're going to identify the different parts of the onion here. Down on the bottom, where all these little things are growing out the bottom, that's the root. Okay? The root is the area that contains most of the stuff that makes us cry. It's actually an enzyme. When we cut into the onion and we crush the cells, this enzyme is released. Up at the top here, this is where the stem comes out and it grows up. And then the bulb object here is the stuff that we eat. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to have to do is peel our onion. So we put it down, we're going to cut the top and the bottom off, trying to remember which side had the roots on it. Once we get the top and the bottom off, we'll then take our knife, kind of cut down the side here. You don't want to cut too deep, but you want to cut from the part at the top where you cut and the part at the bottom, so that it all comes together. And all you have to do is just peel the outer layer off. So remove all of the skin and all the stuff that's not worth eating. Okay, so now we have our peeled onion. We know where the root is. We know where the stem came from. Now we're going to cut it in half. Just one cut down the middle, like this. And I have two halves. Now we'll remove the core by just putting our thumb in at the bottom and pulling out. You don't want to have this stuff. It's not really good, really, for anything. Now a couple other tips that are involved with cutting an onion and not crying have to do with refrigerating the onion. So cool things down, slows down any kind of reactions that take place with the enzymes coming up and filling the air. You can set a fan up at one side to blow all the gas and stuff away from you. You can cut the onion underwater. I have a hard time with this one because I can only hold my breath for so long. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut our onion and we're going to leave the root part connected. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to cut little slices into the onion, all the way down. And what your onion should look like is it should have little leaves like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the parts of the onion to our advantage, because an onion has many layers. So each layer is pretty much a division that we don't have to cut. So at this point, we're going to keep the part that's connected up here and take our knife and cut down like this, holding the onion together. Okay. Now what you'll be left with is the part up at the top or the bottom, depending on how you look at it, where the little things are right here. You pretty much throw this away. Okay? In here, this contains, like I said, all the gases and stuff that really make us cry and make us not look like we're very brave. And what we're left with is just these little diced parts. Go ahead and take this into our bowl and do the same with the other side. Remember, we put our thumb in at the bottom and just pull out the core. We remember that This part here needs to stay connected. This part here is where we cut. Make our little incisions. One other point that I forgot to mention is it helps to have a very sharp knife. The most dangerous thing in your kitchen is going to be a dull knife. And that's because when the knife is dull and you get a cut on something like this, it can just skip off the top and cut into your hand. And unless you're trying to cut your hand, that's not what you want. Alright, so once again, what you're left with is the top part that you don't really need, so you can throw that away. And you've got all the dice parts here. So the next time that you got guests coming over, and you're making tacos or chili or some kind of soup, don't be afraid to put the onions in because you don't have to cry when you do it. Thank you very much for taking your time and hope this helps you out. Thank you.
Hey, Daddy.
I think you're ready.